I think we're ready.
Good.
All right. I'm Sheriff Jack Welch. This is Prosecutor Burke, Castleberry. And we're going to update you a little bit about the Edward Mundy homicide. I'm going to give you a little synopsis of what we've done so far, and then Prosecutor Castleberry will take it from there. But we received this complaint on November 28th in the afternoon from a family member that Edward Mundy had not been seen since the 25th. We took the complaint, entered his name and vehicle into our lien system as a missing person. We did property checks in his business and several places where he used to live with no results. We also made contact with local Ohio authorities, Toledo, Lucas, Fulton, still negative results. We, on December 1st, put a Crime Stoppers press release done, which contained a full description of him and the vehicle. We later that week found the vehicle abandoned at Van Rob, which is a factory at the corner of Rogers Highway and M50 in Tecumseh. There was nobody around. It had been there, according to witnesses, for several days. We did a search of the area with a tracking dog, and we had Monroe County bring their helicopter over and do a flyover, also with negative results. So at that point, he was still just a missing person, and no indication at that time of any foul play. Then the investigation continued for the next few days, following up on leads and tips. And on the 10th is the day that our investigation turned from a missing person to a homicide. And that day we recovered Mr. Mundy's body at the corner of Ranger Highway and Packard Road in Medina Township. And that information led us to some persons of interest. Press releases on the 11th indicated that a homicide took place at 2985 Gady Road, which is lot 21, which is Lee Villa Trailer Park. And the autopsy was being done at that time. And then after that, things started to accelerate rapidly in the case, and Snell and Rosenberg were later charged. And we did additional interviews even after that. And I'm going to turn it now over to Prosecutor Castleberry, who will add some information.
A little bit of this may overlap with what the sheriff just said. The Lenawee County Sheriff's Office has been and continues to actively investigate the disappearance of Edward Allen Mundy. Mr. Mundy has been missing since November 25th, 2015. Investigators received a break in the case late last week. It led to the discovery of Mr. Mundy's body in Medina Township. Investigators further discovered that Mr. Mundy was murdered in Raisin Township at Lee Villa Trailer Park. An autopsy of Mr. Mundy has taken place, and the preliminary results indicate that his death is a homicide due to blunt force trauma. The Lenawee County Prosecutor's Office has issued arrest warrants for two individuals, Devin Douglas Snell for open murder and Tamara Marie Rosenberg for obstruction of justice and accessory after the fact. Ms. Rosenberg was Mr. Mundy's girlfriend, and they resided together in Lee Villa. Mr. Snell was an acquaintance. Investigators believe a physical confrontation occurred at the residence and Mr. Mundy was killed. The investigation in this case continues and is ongoing as we speak. We will make every attempt to keep the media and the public informed as this case develops. However, we cannot divulge all information until the investigation is complete in order to ensure the perpetrators are punished for their actions. I wish to thank all law enforcement agencies that have assisted with this investigation, including the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department, Raisin Township Police Department, the Michigan State Police Department and the Crime Lab, the Tecumseh Police Department, and the Lenawee County Medical Examiner. We ask at this time to keep Mr. Mundy's family and friends in your prayers as they try to deal with this horrific situation. If anyone has further information regarding this crime, please do not hesitate to contact the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Just a quick question. Was this a love triangle? Was it?
We can't release any of that information at this time. This investigation is ongoing, but that is not the direction that we're leading.
Can you then say what Devin and Tamara's acquaintances what their relationship was?
Nothing more than they were just an acquaintance. They were friends. They were all friends.
They were friends.
Yes.
So nobody's related, they're not related at all?
No.
So it wasn't any...
No blood relation.
No blood relation.
What was the motive?
I can't release that at this time. It's under investigation. It's not completely done, and I don't want to jeopardize anything in this case moving forward.
You mentioned you got a break in the case.
Yes.
What led you to the body?
Well, we had multiple tips coming in, and as the investigators were following up on those tips, it's one of those things where it's the house of cards. One card falls, and then we end up finding where we need to be. We got a tip, and through investigation, we discovered some information. One led to the next, and on a chain, we were able to locate the body and find out some of what transpired at the military.
When family came forward, did they have any ideas as to what may have happened to him, or did they send you maybe in the right direction?
I think everyone had suspicions in this case, but no, the information that where we ended up finding the body came from a tip, and they followed the investigation on that. Family did not have any information that led to an arrest.
Now, these two suspects, can you speak to their criminal history? I mean, do they have any history?
I don't know. I think there is some criminal history, but I don't know what it is.
You mentioned that the cause of death was blunt force trauma. In the press release, it says the person of interest are not a threat to the public. Do you change that statement at this point?
Persons of interest have been arrested, and they are not a danger to the public because they're incarcerated.
No, so no one else you're looking at right now? Do you have any suspects?
Well, the investigation continues, but we have identified the murderer in this case.
You mentioned that it was blunt force trauma.
Yes.
Did you find the murder weapon?
We think we know what the murder weapon is.
What is it?
I can't really say at this time. Good one though.
Have these two suspects been arraigned?
They were being arraigned today. I'm not sure if it's taken place yet, but they were scheduled to be in the court this morning, and I have spoken to the public defender's office, who was going to be assigned to their cases.
Now, how did they remove the body from the trailer home to dump it
I can't.
without anyone seeing them? I mean, was it bagged?
That's a very good question, but at this time I don't know the answer to that. How they did it without anyone seeing.
When you found the body, was he tied up?
He had been bound. Yes.
Can you talk about the size of the victim versus the size of the suspect?
The victim was much larger, or excuse me, the suspect was much larger than the victim. I believe the suspect is over 6 feet tall, 200 plus pounds. The victim in this case was 5'4", 5'5", 150 pounds.
What was the argument about?
I can't talk about
Was it blunt force trauma to the head?
that. Yes.
When you discovered the body, was it hidden in any way?
Yes.
In what ways was it hidden?
It was on the side. It was just off the ditch on Ranger, corner of Ranger and Packard. It was on Ranger Road, about 50 yards back from Packard Road. It had been covered with brush.
Okay.
Can you talk a little more about Rosenberg's involvement with all of this? Was she present at that fight? I mean, where did she come into all of this?
I can't talk about that right now because that part of the investigation continues.
Do you believe she was there when he was
Yes.
killed?
And the trailer home belongs to?
It's a rental. It
Rental.
belongs to Leeville Trailer Park, but they were renting it.
Who was renting it?
I'm not sure, but I think Tamara was renting it, and he was living in it as well.
He
He is,
Mr. Monday.
Monday was living.
The power had been shut off to that trailer at least a few days before this incident occurred, so there was no power on that trailer at the time of the incident.
And this is a pretty serious case you're dealing with. I mean, do these types of cases and crimes happen often?
In Lenawee County, we have about 6 murders a year, and we have not had 6 murders this year. So obviously, it's a horrific crime, and to say that Lenawee County doesn't have crime, it seems that every time we have a very serious case like this, it's always with people who know each other. We don't tend to have random acts of violence in Lenawee County, but we do have crimes where people know each other, and that's what this case is.
Is this case basically a domestic violence crime then?
I would not classify it as that.
How many murders have you had so far this year?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Might be the first one.
Well, we've had, I believe this is our third suspicious death that we've had this year.
Third suspicious death, but the first murder?
They're all murders. It's not a murder. It's not an open murder. We've had delivery causing death cases. Obviously, a lot of counties have the epidemic of heroin. Lenawee County is not immune to that. We do not believe heroin is part of the problem in this case.
One of the original reports said that the family reported receiving a text from the victim that he was making plans for Thanksgiving. Does that text now appear to be something that was sent, that was not sent by the victim?
That is correct. We do not believe that that text message was sent by the victim.
When you took those suspects into custody, how did that go? I mean, did you have to search for them? Were they come willingly?
Well, we had the open murder suspect was picked up on a probation violation, I believe it was. So he was incarcerated at the time that we interviewed him. Ms. Rosenberg, we brought in for questioning.
Did she confess?
I cannot.
That probation violation, what was that for? I mean, what is he incarcerated for?
I don't know.
In the press release you sent out earlier in the week, you said that his girlfriend texted him and he went to work beforehand. Is that something she fabricated or is that true?
What day are you talking about?
Other than he went missing.
Is that the 25th?
Yes.
We do not believe that he was alive the morning of the 25th.
So do you believe he was murdered the night before?
Correct.
So you mean he was murdered the day he went missing?
There's been some confusion on what days people have reported him. That's why I'm hesitant to tell you when you just identified as the day he went missing. We believe that he was murdered on November 24th, possibly into the early hours of November 25th. But we believe that he was deceased at the time before anyone notified police that he was missing.
You said that drugs, you didn't believe drugs to be involved, but was there a robbery motive to this crime either?
We have no information regarding a robbery.
So just to be clear, the text to the family was after you believe he might have been murdered.
That's correct.
Did she have a role, as far as you can say, did she have a role in the text, or how do you?
I do not know that.
So you don't believe this was a planned murder, it was an accident?
I'm not saying that. At this time, we are continuing the investigation. Those are some of the things that we are looking at. That's why in Michigan, I have the capability of charging open murder and not second-degree murder versus first-degree murder.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.